Hi everybody, it's Mary with Mighty Health. I'm welcoming my entire Mighty family to my entire Mighty kitchen, mini Mighty kitchen here. And we are gonna make a delicious meal using one pot. I know you love that. That's music to my ears always. It is a one pot sesame salmon bowl. It's a recipe my family loves. We've healthied it up for our Mighty family, and I always love a healthier version of a recipe. So I want to share the ingredients with you, and then I'll show you some of the techniques to make this recipe, and you're gonna love it. So let's get started. All right, my major players in this recipe are some things I season sushi rice with. So I have some sushi rice here, it's been soaking. And to that, I'm gonna season it with a little salt, a little bit of rice vinegar, and some agave. Our original recipe to this had that S word, the sugar, and the agave will work much better. We're gonna cook that with some just simple water. And then we're gonna use some salmon. I'm gonna show you how to get that all ready. And we're gonna have that marinated in a little bit of sesame oil, which will be fabulous. So to that, we're gonna top with this delicious gingery scallion dressing. And to do that, I'm gonna use some olive oil. I have my cohort, Lindsay, here, who might can tell you about some other oils that are a great option. You want something mild tasting, but Lindsay, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, definitely. Avocado or olive oil will work just great. You just want to stay away from more of like the processed seed oils like canola, vegetable, stuff like that. So
right, and I think this original recipe had canola, which I think is a no-no. It also mentioned safflower. I'm not sure if that's probably on the big
it's
list,
not
right?
ideal. Safflower oil is one of those seed oils that tend to be extremely processed. So yeah, stick to like the avocado and olive oil.
Olive oil. Okay, I'm using an olive oil, a little bit of distilled vinegar. It's a 3-to-2 ratio in this. If that's a little too pungent for you, you can even it out or just do what is best to your taste buds. And then another substitution is this coconut aminos instead of soy. Tell us about that.
Yes, so coconut aminos are a great substitution for soy sauce for multiple reasons. So food allergies are the biggest thing. So if you are allergic to gluten or especially soy, this is a great option. And then also it just tends to have a lot less sodium calories than soy sauce. So yeah, it's a great, it tastes just like soy sauce. So it's a great option. Yep.
Yeah, great. I'm excited to try that. The toppers for this recipe, I'll show you real quickly. I mentioned the scallions that are going to go in our dressing, and then I have some ginger. It's in my freezer. I'm going to grab that in a sec. But we're going to use some coleslaw as one of the toppings, and also some little Persian cucumbers that I'm going to slice up, and then some avocado slices that I'm going to do. And all of these toppings are going to get a drizzle of that yummy dressing that we're going to make. So let's get started. The first thing I want to show you is how to prep that salmon that I got here. It came frozen. This makes salmon so much more affordable and easier to work with. I had this little packet in my freezer and just set it into a bowl of tepid water to let it thaw. It took maybe 20 minutes. I'm gonna take a little paper towel to it and get the liquid off. There we go. And then you'll notice this skin on the back side. We don't want that because we're gonna cook this cubed. So I'm gonna take just my paring knife. I like to start at the top edge and go straight down. And then once I get into that sweet spot, right where the skin and the salmon meets, I kind of face my knife slightly upward, and then I just slice all the way down. It's easier to do this when it's slightly frozen. I prepped most of my salmon earlier, but I did want to show you this because, and notice how I'm slicing away from my hand. I think you all know that out there, but just in case. Safety first. There we go. Trash that. And then I'm just going to cube it up into cubes. Okay, now I did most of my salmon earlier, and you'll notice it's just cut into this bowl. I'm going to add my last bit. Okay, I wanted to show you that we're going to just season it. Sorry, we're going to season it with just a tad bit of toasted sesame. Now you only need 1/4 teaspoon of this. A little goes a long way with sesame oil. Do that, and I will just toss it with a spoon, and then I'm gonna show you how to make the rice. So I have 1.5 cups of rice here, and that has been setting in just water. I didn't even measure the water. I put 1.5 cups of rice, and you'll notice that it's pretty cloudy. It's been probably sitting in there for about 1/2 hour. I'm going to drain some of that out, and I'll show you at my sink how I can you want to make sure the water is running clear before you make your rice on the cooktop. So let's get that going. I'm going to slide down here.
I was going to say, you'll see that Mary's using rice, but for the low carb option, you really could use like cauliflower rice for this if you wanted to.
Oh,
obviously,
that's right.
You wouldn't need to let it soak. It won't take as long to cook. And it won't, obviously it won't be as, it won't be the same texture. Ramona brought up quinoa. That would also be a great option as well. Really any kind of whole grain, but that is your low carb option if you don't want to use rice. But honestly, rice will be a great addition for a great complex carb for this recipe.
Like I said, I soaked it for a good 30 minutes, but it really pulls out the starch and it plumps up the rice, so it really makes a great final product. Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not going to be perfectly crystal. Now I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to go to my cooktop to show you how to get this party started. I have some rice that is already underway, but I wanted to show you this part of the recipe, because what you're going to do is take 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. A lot of times you'll season rice after you cook it. This recipe has you season it while you're cooking it. It eliminates a step. It calls for a teaspoon of salt. You don't even have to use the salt. I know sodium can be an issue. It's not entirely necessary, but I'm just playing by the rules here. And then I'm going to also add a little bit of agave. So I just like to eyeball it, just a little squirt, just to sweeten it up a tad. And then I'm going to turn my cooktop on. I'm going to add 1 3/4 cups of water. You're going to get it bubbling, and then you're going to turn it down to low. I even turned mine down to a high simmer and let it go for about 20 minutes. So let's do this. I have my salmon all ready to go, and this rice has been going for about 10 minutes already, 10 or 15. So I'm going to go ahead and add my salmon on top right now. Let this steam while we prepare the rest of our ingredients. So here we go. We've got our nice pieces of salmon. It's been marinating in the sesame oil, and I'm just gonna gently spoon it on top of the rice. Don't be afraid that it's not cooked, because it's all gonna cook together. The rice is still cooking. That's gonna seal it, create some steam, and that's gonna be cooking while we do the rest of our recipe. So next step will be our salad dressing. I'm calling it a salad dressing. It's really the topping for our bowl, but this is a great one to make in an extra of, and you could drizzle this over veggies. You could put it on a salad the next day. It's such a great recipe to add to your lineup. Okay, I'm obsessed with freezing my ginger, people. That's why it came out so late to the party, but it never disappoints when it's nice and frozen like that. I'm gonna take my main ingredients, which are olive oil. I'm going to use just a few tablespoons of that. I love to use a jar for this part, because I love it when my salad dressings are emulsified. I'm going to start with the aminos actually. Let's go 1/4 cup on the coconut aminos. That's going to go into my jar. The wider the mouth, the better on this, people. All right, and then I'm going to add my white distilled vinegar. I've used a rice vinegar in this recipe and it came out great. So I don't know if the white distilled isn't absolutely necessary. This recipe does call for 3 tablespoons. I mentioned that earlier. If you want to make sure it's not too pungent, you can kind of shorten that last tablespoon. So here I'm going to add my olive oil. This is a nice mild one. We can add a little bit of salt and pepper to that if you want more flavor, but we're going to also add scallions and ginger, and that's what's going to give it fabulous taste. So I'm going to put a lid on here and give it the start of a shake. Little rah-rah. Shake it up.
There, Mary.
Yeah, I know. I need some music with my shake here. So I'm going to, I have that kind of going. My ginger, it looks a little bit like a dinosaur or something, doesn't it? You can peel it if you want, but that peel is actually won't hurt at all if you want to just shave it right into your recipe. I think this calls for 2 tablespoons, but it's really to taste. So I'm just going to start shaving this over this little ramekin I have. And it smells so good. There's nothing like fresh ginger. And it has a lot of health benefits too, doesn't it, Lindsay?
Yes. And what's nice about this whole entire recipe is it's got, like the heart healthy from the salmon, the antioxidants, and, all the vitamins and minerals from all the ginger and the vegetables. So it's a great balanced bowl to have.
Yeah, good. Okay, I think I have about 2 tablespoons. I always like to go big on the ginger though, so let's move on to our scallions. So since these are kind of thick, I don't really want to add them to that jar, but I'll just kind of dump them in here. I'm going to give this another shake. Uh-oh, got a little leak going on, but it's okay.
As long as you preserve most of it, right?
Exactly. Then we're going to just pour that in. This is what you're then going to drizzle, probably with a spoon, over your final product. I have found that when I make this, I sometimes like to drizzle it right onto my slaw. And this is a coleslaw, but I've also done this recipe with a broccoli slaw. And I find that equally delicious, if not more. It has just a little bit more substance to it. And I like the flavor of the broccoli slaw. You can use your own cabbage to make this coleslaw and thinly slice it. I use the package of already cut, sliced and rinsed slaw, so it's ready to go. So I'm going to drizzle a little bit of that so it has a chance to kind of blend. Coleslaw, there's nothing super exciting, flavorful about it. So when you can add a little bit of this and get the flavors going early, I think it helps. And I'm going to rinse off my little area right here and get our last couple ingredients ready to go. Okay, so this just has a little bit of that dressing we made on it from my little leaky jar, but that's okay because we're going to just slice up our Persian cucumber and our avocado, and then we'll be good to go. I'm going to just peek in on my salmon, and you can see it's getting really close. So I have my washed Persian cucumbers. I like them with the skin on. You were talking about the aminos in salmon, Lindsay, earlier. Is that the heart healthy aspect?
Yeah, so salmon itself is probably one of the most heart healthy proteins you can have. It's got the omega-3s, the healthy saturated fats, protein of course, and then all of these foods that we're adding in, like the avocado, you're going to get healthy fats from, all the vegetables, all the nutrients. So this dish, this is obviously why we chose this, was for Heart Health Month, but this is a really, really heart healthy recipe for you.
Yes, heart health. That is so important. And yeah, that's so great that this recipe just screams heart health, doesn't it?
And two, I will say that if you're vegetarian or you don't eat fish, you can also do like tofu with this. Like tofu bowls are very similar to salmon bowls. And so that's an option too. We always try to talk about like, vegetarian options when we do these. So that would be a great way to supplement.
Oh, that's a great deal.
And I would still marinate it. I would get firm tofu and do the sesame oil on it, marinate it, because tofu really absorbs a marinade like that. And then I would pan sear it instead of steaming it, because that really, I think, helps a tofu dish taste great. So I'm gonna just slice my avocado. Okay, I'm gonna move over to grab myself a bowl because, hey, it's getting close to lunchtime out here. So once your salmon is steamed, you can see the pieces are all steamed. I usually just move it to the side so I can get some of the rice. See how nice and sticky that rice is? I could have let this go maybe a minute or two longer, but I love a sticky rice like that. A little sesame seed on top, because in fact it is a sesame salmon bowl, so you might as well add the sesame seeds. What's a sesame salmon bowl without the sesame seeds? All right, last part that only I can do is the taste test.
Oh,
so
how is it? Let us know. It looks
Wish
so
you were
yummy.
here.
It smells good. Ooh, that rice is hot. Let it cool. Perfect. It is so simple. Simplest cleanup. I have my one pot on the cooktop and my little ingredients over here, and it's just a delicious, nice warm, the warm of the rice, with the healthy, fresh ingredients on top. I think it's a great combo.
Awesome. It looks so good. Thank you so much for showing us how to cook that. I cannot wait to try it.
Good stuff. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you all for joining us. It was awesome. Please reach out to your coaches if you guys need the recipe text it to you, and let us know if you guys make it. Send us pictures.
Yes, send your pics. I'd love to see it. Bye-bye. Bye, Mighty Family.